Please all stand up and let us pray. Angel, please lead the prayer. Amen. Good morning, grade 10 students. But before you sit down, please pick up all the pieces of papers on the floor. Arrange your chairs to the straight line. Very well. Class, please settle down. Now, how are you, class? Okay, that's good. Now, let me check your attendance first. Anna, how many absent do we have in this row? Okay, thank you. How about in this row, Amanda? Thank you. And for the last row, Chico? Okay, thank you. Well, very good class. No one is absent today. But before we proceed, let us talk about our classroom rules first. What do we mean by this class? Okay, correct. Turn off cell phones and electronic devices. And the next one, class? Okay, correct, class. Listen carefully. And for the third one, class, and the last one? Okay, correct. Raise your hand if you want to speak or answer. Now, class, anyone here still remember what literary devices are? Okay, yes. Mickey. Okay, that is correct. How about the common literary devices that you know? Mary Jane. Okay, that is also correct. It seems that you really understand your previous lesson about literary devices. Now, we will talk about another lesson. But first, let's read our learning objectives for today. Class, let's read our learning objectives loud and clear and all together. For the first one, class, let's read. Recognize the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author. And the second one, class, determine the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author. And for the last one, class, let's read. Realize the importance of tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author. So, these are our learning objectives for this lesson. Now, I have prepared something here. We will enjumble the following words. You may raise your hand, class, if you want to speak or answer. For number one, who wants to answer? Okay, yes, Jalo, you're raising your hand. Correct, Jalo. This is the word tone. And for the second one, yes, JL. Okay, correct, JL. This is the word mood. And for the third one, yes, Nate. Okay, correct. This is the word purpose. And for the last one, yes, Lorraine. Okay, correct, Lorraine. This is the word technique. And because you have enjumbled the following words correctly, I have prepared another activity for you, class. This is entitled as II definitions. So, II definitions, we will match these definitions to the words that I provided here. The first one is the word mood. The next one is the word purpose. The third one is the word technique. And the fourth one is the word tone. Class, you may raise your hand if you want to answer or speak. Okay. For number 1, who wants to answer? Okay, yes, Kan. You were raising your hand. Okay, for number 1? Okay, correct. This is pertaining to the word purpose. You are correct. And for the second one? Okay, yes, Jonah. Okay, correct. This is the meaning of the word technique. And for the third one, yes, Daniel. Okay, correct, Daniel. This is the word or the meaning of the word tone. Okay, and for the last one, class. Okay, yes, Chico. Okay, correct, Chico. We have here the word mood. Now, class, we found out that purpose is the aim or intention of something or someone. And then, technique is a way of doing something by using special knowledge or skills. While when we say tone, it tells how the author feels about she or he writes about. And when we say mood, this is how the reader feels when or after reading the story. Now, class, from what you've answered, what do you think is our lesson for today? Yes, James. Okay, correct. Another answer. Yes, Elaine. Okay, correct. Our lesson for today is all about the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author. Now, let's proceed to our lesson. Eyes on the board for our PowerPoint presentation. Yes, Anna, please read the first text or paragraph on the slide. Okay, thank you. So, what's on the slide is about the tone versus the mood. So, when we say tone, it is how the author feels about what she or he writes about. And when we say mood, this is the feeling of the reader when or after reading the story. So, that is the difference between the tone and the mood. When we say tone, it's about the feeling of the author while writing. But when we say mood, it is the feeling of the reader when he or she is reading or after reading and during reading the story of the author. So that is the difference. Now, we will talk about the literary techniques. I have provided here 5 literary techniques for you, class, namely assonance, alliteration, hyperbole, metaphors, and lastly, similes. Now we will talk about assonance first. Okay, what is assonance? James, please read what's on the slide. Okay, thank you, James. So here, assonance is the repeated vowel sounds in nearby words. So our example is patience always pays. So here, the vowel sound of the letter A is repeated. Okay? Patience always pays. So remember that, class? And for our next one, the alliteration. So when we say alliteration, this is the repetition of the first sound or sounds in a group of words. So remember class, this is the repetition of the first sound or sounds. So our example here, Anna, please read. Okay, correct. She sells seashells down by the seashores. So the repeated sounds here are the sounds of the letter S and SH, which are located in the beginning of the words. So that is alliteration. And this is a very exciting class, the hyperbole. Okay, hyperbole. Now, Amanda, please read. Okay, thank you. So here we found out that hyperbole, deliberate exaggeration or comedic effect for emphasis. So here, the speaker is using words that is of exaggeration. So our first example is, ouch, the pasty is hotter than the sun. So here the description is too much. The exaggeration here is higher. So that is hyperbole. Okay. Now, I want Anna to give me an example of hyperbole. Okay, that is correct, Anna. Now, let's proceed to the metaphor. So when we say metaphor, this is the comparison of two unlike things, but by using the words is, are, was, and were. Our example here is, he was a walking encyclopedia. So here, there is a comparison between the person and the encyclopedia. And if we decode the meaning, it says that this person is a genius. Because encyclopedia, we can find information, a lot of information on encyclopedia. So I guess the person here is a genius. He was like a walking encyclopedia. He was a genius. So here we use the word was to compare. So this is metaphor. And for the last one class, simile. Yes, James, please read what's on the slide. Okay, thank you, James. So here it says that this is also a comparison between two things. But here we are using just two words to compare. So these words are as and like. So our example here is, it is hot as the sun outside today. So here we use the words as. And we have another example here. So our example here is, the flower looks like a golden jewel. So the comparison between the flower and the golden jewel. And we used the word like to compare. So it means that we are using similes. Again, class, if it is metaphor, we are using the words are, is, was, and were to compare. But when we talk about similes, we are just using two words. The words as and like. Okay? Okay. Now, I want Melody to please differentiate similes and metaphor. Okay, that is a very good explanation, Melody. That is correct, class. So now, we will proceed to the common purposes for writing. So it says in the slide that common purposes for writing is as easy as pie. So why as easy as pie? So first, for the letter P, we have to persuade. For the letter I, we have the word to inform. And for the third one, we have the word to entertain. So here, it's as easy as pi. Now, we will talk about the first purpose, to persuade. So when we say to persuade, the author tries to get you to do something or believe what he is saying. So it is simply telling you to believe him or her, or you to do something through his or her writing. So we have an example here to persuade. This pie is so delicious. You will want to go buy one right now. Pies are on side today for $3.99. What a great price! Eating pies is good for you. Eat some today. So here, the writer or the author of this text is trying to persuade you to buy a pie. Okay? So that is to persuade. Now, we have here Mickey. For you, Mickey, what is to persuade? Okay, correct. That is correct. And now, yes, Jane, for you, can you give me an example of a text persuading me to buy something, or a sentence persuading me to buy something? Can you persuade me to buy a cell phone? Okay, now persuade me. Okay, that is a very good one. So class, that is one of the common purposes for writing, to persuade. Now we will talk about the second one, to inform. So here, when we talk about, or when we say to inform, here the author gives you information about the topic. So here I have an example. The average American eats 6 slices of pie each year. Pie has been around since the ancient Egyptians. Some pies are made from apples, cherries, and pumpkins. So here, the authors are giving us information about the pie. So some facts about the pie. So here, the purpose of the author is to inform us. Okay, now can you give me a sentence which the purpose is to inform? Okay, thank you. So you inform me about your birthday. Okay, that is correct. So class, that is to inform. Now, let's talk about the third one, which is to entertain. So here, when we talk about entertain or entertainment, the author tells us a story that we will enjoy. So I have an example here. One day I was picking blackberries for a pie, and a big hairy bear snuck up behind me. Okay, this is to entertain the readers through the story provided. Yes, when we are reading, we are entertained, and the author writes story also to entertain the readers, or to give them pleasure in reading. Now class, anyone from you who can give me a sentence or a paragraph which can entertain the whole class? Okay, yes, Charla. Okay, that is very good, Charla. Okay, so class, that is Charla's purpose for speaking is to entertain us. Okay, so now class, do you have any questions? Okay, since none, now we can proceed to your activity. So class, this is your group activity. This is entitled as Let's Determine. determine. So we have also our rubric. And of course, the poem that we will read. So class, now the poem that we will study about is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. This is a very famous poem. We also have here the directions. But before this class, every one of you has the chance to choose whether on what group you want to be in. So we have 3 groups. So of course we have the group of singers, and of course we have the group of poets. And lastly, we have the group of writers. So you have the chance to choose whether on what group you want to be in. But a group must only have 10 members per of its maximum, and then if it reaches or exceeds the maximum number of members, then the other members are obligated to transfer on another group so that we could maintain 10 members per group. And every group can choose the area inside the classroom on where they want to work with. Okay, now this is the instruction. So for the group of singers, you should identify the tone. So remember, you will identify the tone of this poem and write it in a half sheet of paper. So after identifying, write a song. Since you are the group of singers, you will write a song which contain 1 stanza or 4 lines with the same tone from the poem. Okay, then your song must be about current events, trends, or issue. Okay, then the whole group will sing it in front of the class. So remember this class. And for the group of poets, identify the literary techniques. So the literary techniques are the assonance, alliteration, metaphor, similes, and hyperbole. So you will going to identify the literary technique that Frost used in the poem and write it in a half sheet of paper. So after identifying, you are asked to write a poem which contains 1 stanza or 4 lines with the same literary technique from Robert Frost's poem. So same with the literary technique that you have identified in this poem. And then of course, it should be about any current events, trends, or issue. And then you will recite it in front of the class as a group. And for the group of writers, we have here, identify Robert Frost's purpose for writing the poem. Okay, so write it in half sheet of paper. And then after identifying, write an essay with a minimum words of 70 and write it in half sheet of paper. Then a representative from your group must recite it or read it in front of the class. So for our rubric class, just read, and if you want to get the perfect score of 20 points, here are what you are going to accomplish. The first one to perform would be the group of singers. The next one would be the group of poets. And the third one and the last one would be the group of writers. Do you have any question, class? Okay, since none, you may start now and enjoy. Okay, time is up, class. Now pass your papers. Okay, thank you. Okay, now, anyone from group 1 who can answer my question? Okay, yes. Thank you for participating, Anna. Okay, Anna, for you, what is the tone of the poem and why? Okay, that is very good, class. That is correct. So the tone of the poem is satisfied because the character, you are correct, Anna, because the character in the story is pleased to the road he chose. Okay? Now, group 1, you may perform now. Okay, that was a wonderful performance, class. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Now, for the group 2. The group 2, anyone who can answer my simple question? Okay. Now, for you, Amanda, what is the literary technique that the author used in the poem? Why? Okay, that is correct, Amanda. So, the literary technique that the author used in the poem is metaphor. Yes, you are correct also because the yellow woods in this poem or on this poem are the metaphors of making decisions during hard times. Okay, now group 2, you may perform now. Wow, that was an amazing performance. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, and for the third group or the group of writers, who among you can answer my question? Okay, yes, James. Okay, for you, James, what is the purpose of the author for writing the poem? Okay, you are correct. The purpose of the author is to persuade the readers to make decisions wisely and to make a difference. Very good, class. And now, your representative can read your persuasive essay. Okay, that is very timely. Okay, very good. Okay, class. Now, I want you to give yourself a round of applause because you really did a great job. And, class, I am delighted to announce that all of the groups get the perfect score of 20 points. Congratulations, everyone. Okay. Now, class, how did you feel after doing the activity? Yes? Cora? Okay. Yes. Sisi? Okay. I'm very glad, class. Now, do you think the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author are important in a literary piece? Okay, yes. Chico again. Okay, that is a wonderful answer. Those are important, class, in a literary piece for the literary piece to be more meaningful and engaging. So, now, class, let's go back to our learning objectives. now class, please read the first objective all together. Okay, class. Thank you for that loud and clear reading. Now, were you able to recognize the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author? Okay, very well. The next one, class. Okay, thank you. Now, were you able to determine the tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author through a literary piece provided, which was the road na taken? Okay, very well. Now, read the third one, class. Okay, thank you. Were you able to realize the importance of tone, mood, technique, and purpose of the author? Okay, very well. I'm glad that you were able to achieve our learning objectives. Now, class, I have prepared a short quiz for all of you. I will just give you 5 minutes to finish this one. Okay? Good luck! Okay, time is up, class. Now, exchange your papers with your seatmates, and we will answer the first one. So, who wants to answer? Yes, James. Okay, correct. Mood. So, this is the meaning of mood. Now, Cassie, you're raising your hand. Okay, correct. We have here the assonance. For the third one, yes, Jay. Okay, correct. Tone. For the number 4, yes, can. Okay, correct, can. This is pertaining to hyperbole, exaggerations, hyperbole. So now, for number 5, yes, Mary Jane. Okay, correct, Mary Jane. So we have here the word simile. And for this number 6, yes, Ming Ming. Okay, correct. So, metaphor, class, metaphor. And for number 7, yes, Andrea. Okay, you are correct, Andrea. So, alliteration, the repetition of the first sound or sounds in a group of words. So, this, for numbers 8 to 10, yes, Lorraine. Okay, correct, Lorraine. So, the common purposes for writing are to persuade, to inform, and to entertain. Very good, class. It seems that most of you got a perfect score of 10 points. Now, class, you may pass your papers forwards and I will collect that later. And for your assignment, class, I have here so you are asked to read 2 to 3 short story or any written text or printed text from the internet or from your English textbooks. Write its first paragraph on a whole sheet of paper, and of course you need to identify the author's purpose or purposes for writing those. Do you have any question, class? Okay, since none, that's all for today. I hope you learned something. Have a nice day, and goodbye, class.